The rifle's weight felt heavier than usual in Sarah's hands, the cold steel biting into her palms as the forest whispered secrets in the October wind. She was 25, but out here under the endless canopy of pines in rural Pennsylvania, she felt like a child again, trailing her Aunt Emily through the woods. Something about this hunting trip was different, electric, like the air before a storm. Sarah adjusted her leather jacket, her boots crunching on brittle leaves as she followed Emily, who moved with the quiet grace of someone who'd walked these trails for decades. At 45, Emily was a figure of strength, her silver-streaked hair catching the fading sunlight, her flannel shirt rolled up to her elbows despite the chill. They'd come to hunt deer, a tradition since Sarah was a teenager, but the unspoken tension between them now felt like a third presence, trailing just behind. "Keep up, kid," Emily called softly, her voice warm but edged with something Sarah couldn't place. They'd always been close. Emily was more mother than aunt, filling the gaps left by Sarah's distant parents. But this trip, planned on a whim, carried a weight Sarah didn't understand. Not yet. They reached a clearing, a familiar spot where they'd set up camp countless times. The air smelled of damp earth and pine, and a small stream gurgled nearby. Sarah dropped her pack, her green eyes scanning the horizon as the sky bled orange. Emily knelt by the fire pit, her hands steady as she arranged kindling. The silence between them wasn't uncomfortable, but it was heavy, like the moment before a confession. "Sarah," Emily said, not looking up from the fire. Her voice was low, deliberate. "There's something I need to tell you." Sarah's heart skipped. She'd sensed it all day, Emily's lingering glances, the way her fingers fidgeted with the knife at her belt. "What's up?" Sarah asked, trying to keep her tone light, though her pulse quickened. Emily stood, brushing dirt from her jeans, and turned to face her niece. Her dark eyes, usually so steady, shimmered with something raw. "I've been carrying this for a long time," she said. "And out here, it feels right to let it go." Sarah froze, the rifle still slung over her shoulder. The forest seemed to hold its breath, the wind dying down as if nature itself was listening. Emily took a step closer, her expression a mix of fear and resolve. "I'm a lesbian, Sarah," she said, the words tumbling out like stones down a cliff. "I've always been. And I've never told anyone in the family. Not until now." The confession hit Sarah like a gust of cold air. She blinked, her mind racing to catch up. Emily, her tough, solitary aunt, who'd taught her to shoot, to track, to survive in these woods, was lesbian? The revelation didn't shock her because of what it was. It shocked her because Emily had kept it hidden for so long. Sarah's mouth opened, but no words came. She just stared, her heart pounding with a mix of awe and questions. Emily's face softened, but her eyes searched Sarah's for judgment. "I know it's a lot," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But out here with you, I couldn't keep it inside anymore." Sarah set the rifle down, her hands trembling slightly. She took a step toward Emily, closing the gap between them. "Why now?" she asked, her voice gentle but urgent. "Why tell me now?" Emily's gaze dropped to the fire, flames licking the kindling as dusk settled around them. "Because you're the only one I trust," she said. "And because there's more to it. There's someone I loved a long time ago, and I think I'm ready to find her again." Sarah's breath caught. The idea of Emily, stoic and self-reliant, carrying a secret love for years, it was like discovering a hidden room in a house she'd lived in her whole life. She wanted to ask 1,000 questions. Who was this woman? What happened? Why had Emily stayed silent? But the weight of the moment held her back. Instead, she reached out, her hand brushing Emily's arm. "I'm glad you told me," she said, her voice thick with emotion. I'm proud of you." Emily's eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. She never did. Instead, she gave a small, grateful nod and turned back to the fire. "Let's get this camp set up," she said, her tone lighter but still carrying the weight of her truth. As they worked in tandem pitching the tent, unpacking supplies, Sarah's mind spun. Emily's confession wasn't just about her identity. It was about a life she'd buried, a love she'd lost. Sarah had always admired her aunt's strength, but now she saw the cost of it. The forest, with its quiet vastness, felt like the perfect place for such a truth to emerge, raw and unfiltered. That night, as they sat by the fire, the stars piercing the black sky, Emily began to share more. Her voice was soft, almost reverent, as she spoke of a woman named Clara. They'd met in their 20s in a small town not far from here, where Clara ran a bookstore and Emily worked as a park ranger. Their connection had been instant, electric, but the world back then, small-town America in the 90s, wasn't kind to women like them. We'd meet in secret, Emily said, poking at the fire with a stick. Late nights at her shop or out here in the woods where no one could see. She was everything. Bright, fearless, with this laugh that made the world feel lighter. Her voice cracked slightly and Sarah leaned closer, hanging on every word. But we got careless, Emily continued, her eyes distant. Someone saw us. Word spread. Clara's shop got vandalized and her family. They turned on her. She left town and I let her go. I thought it was the right thing for her safety, for mine. But I've regretted it every day since. Sarah's chest ached. She could feel the pain in Emily's words, the kind that lingered like a bruise. Do you know where she is now? Sarah asked, her voice barely audible over the crackling fire. Emily shook her head. I tried looking years ago, but she vanished. No trace. I don't even know if she's still. She trailed off, unable to finish the thought. Sarah reached for her aunt's hand, squeezing it gently. We'll find her, she said, her voice firm with a sudden resolve. If you want to, we'll find her together. Emily looked at her, surprise flickering across her face. For a moment she seemed younger, vulnerable in a way Sarah had never seen. You do that? She asked. Of course, Sarah said, a smile breaking through. You're my family. And I want you to be happy. The firelight danced in Emily's eyes, and for the first time that night, she smiled a real, unguarded smile. The forest stretched out around them, vast and silent, as if holding space for the journey they were about to embark on. Sarah didn't know what lay ahead, but she knew one thing. This trip was no longer just about hunting deer. It was about hunting for a truth, a love, a life Emily had left behind. The morning sun filtered through the pines, casting long shadows across their campsite. Sarah woke to the smell of coffee brewing over the fire, Emily already up and moving, her silhouette sharp against the dawn. The weight of last night's confession lingered, but there was a new energy between them, a shared purpose that made the air feel alive. Sarah stretched, her muscles stiff from the cold ground, and joined Emily by the fire. You sleep okay? Emily asked, handing her a tin mug of coffee. Her voice was steady but her eyes held a question. Are we still okay? Like a rock, Sarah lied, smiling to ease the tension. She sipped the coffee, its bitterness grounding her. So, what's the plan? Are we hunting deer or hunting Clara today? Emily chuckled, a rare sound that warmed the chilly morning. Both maybe, she said, but her gaze softened. I've been thinking about what you said. About finding her. I don't even know where to start. Sarah set her mug down, her mind already racing. We start with what you know, she said. Her name, the bookstore, anything. We can dig online when we get back to town. People leave traces even if they don't mean to. Emily nodded, but doubt clouded her face. It's been 20 years, Sarah. She could be anywhere. Or, she might not want to be found. Sarah leaned forward, her green eyes fierce. Then we find out. You deserve to know, Emily. You deserve to try. The conviction in Sarah's voice seemed to steady Emily. She took a deep breath, her shoulders squaring. Okay, she said. But we're still out here to hunt. Let's not waste the trip. They packed up camp and set out, rifles in hand, moving deeper into the forest. The trail was familiar, but the weight of their conversation made every step feel significant. Sarah watched Emily closely, her aunt's steady stride, the way she scanned the woods with a hunter's focus. But now Sarah saw the layers beneath. The woman who'd loved fiercely and lost quietly, who'd carried her truth like a hidden wound. As they tracked a deer through the underbrush, Sarah broke the silence. What was Clara like? She asked, her voice soft to avoid spooking their quarry. You said she was fearless. Tell me more. Emily's lips curved into a small smile, her eyes distant. She was alive. In a way most people aren't. She'd read poetry to me in that bookstore, surrounded by all those old books like she was weaving magic. She had this wild red hair, always a mess, and freckles that showed up when she laughed. And she laughed a lot. Emily's voice grew quieter. She made me feel like I could be myself. Really myself. Sarah's heart ached at the tenderness in Emily's words. She'd never heard her aunt speak like this, with such unguarded longing. Sounds like she was special, Sarah said. What happened after she left? Emily's face darkened. I stayed. Kept my head down. Worked. Tried to forget her. But you don't forget someone like that. Every time I came out here to these woods, I'd think of her. We used to dream about running away together. Living somewhere no one would care who we loved. Sarah stopped walking, her boots sinking into the soft earth. Why didn't you? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Emily paused, her rifle lowered. Fear, she said simply. I was young, Sarah. I thought I was protecting her by letting her go. But all I did was protect myself from getting hurt again. The admission hung between them, raw and heavy. Sarah wanted to reach out to hug her aunt, but Emily was already moving again, her focus back on the trail. They didn't speak for a while, the forest filling the silence with its own sounds, birdsong, rustling leaves, the distant snap of a twig. By midday they'd spotted a deer, a young buck grazing in a clearing. Emily raised her rifle, her movements precise, but Sarah noticed her hesitate. You okay? Sarah whispered. Emily lowered the rifle, her expression unreadable. I don't think I'm here for this today, she said. Let's head back to camp. Sarah nodded, sensing the shift. The hunt wasn't about the deer Anna Marie, it was about something bigger. Something they were both chasing now. As they trekked back, Sarah's mind buzzed with ideas. She wasn't tech-savvy, but she knew enough to start digging online. Social media, old records, anything that might point to Clara. Back at camp, they ate a simple lunch of jerky and apples, the fire crackling between them. Sarah pulled out her phone, checking for a signal. We'll start with her name, she said. Clara. What was her last name? Harper, Emily said, her voice soft but certain. Clara Harper. Sarah typed the name into her phone, but the signal was weak. We'll need to wait till we're back in town, she said, frustrated. But we'll find something. I promise. Emily looked at her, a mix of gratitude and apprehension in her eyes. You don't have to do this, you know, she said. This is my mess. It's not a mess, Sarah said firmly. It's your life. And I'm in it, so I'm helping. Emily's smile was small but genuine. You're stubborn, you know that? Just like me. Learn from the best, Sarah shot back, grinning. As the afternoon faded into evening, they sat by the fire again, planning their next steps. Sarah suggested checking old bookstore records, maybe even contacting people from the town where Clara had lived. Emily was hesitant, wary of stirring up old wounds, but Sarah's determination was contagious. For the first time in years, Emily felt a flicker of hope, a chance to reclaim a piece of herself she'd thought was lost forever. Back in town, the quiet of the forest gave way to the hum of everyday life. Sarah and Emily returned to Emily's small cabin on the outskirts of their Pennsylvania hometown, a place filled with memories of their shared past. The cabin was cozy, cluttered with books and old hunting gear, but now it felt like a war room for their new mission, finding Clara Harper. Sarah set up her laptop on the kitchen table, her fingers flying across the keys as Emily watched, a mix of curiosity and nervousness on her face. Okay, Sarah said, her voice brimming with focus. Clara Harper, bookstore owner, early 2000s. Let's see what we can find. The search began with social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, anything that might hold a clue. But Clara Harper was a common name, and the results were overwhelming. Profiles of women who didn't match Emily's description flooded the screen. Sarah tried narrowing it down with the town's name, but the bookstore had closed years ago, and online records were sparse. Emily paced the small kitchen, her boots scuffing the wooden floor. This is pointless, she muttered. She's gone, Sarah. I should have known better than to hope. Sarah looked up, her green eyes fierce. We're not giving up after one day, she said. If she's out there, we'll find her. Let's try something else, maybe old newspaper archives or public records. Emily sighed but nodded, sitting beside Sarah. Together they dug deeper, combing through digitized local papers from the early 2000s. After an hour, Sarah found a small article about the vandalism of Harper's Books, Clara's store. It mentioned the incident, a broken window, homophobic slurs painted on the door, but no details about Clara's whereabouts after she left town. That's her, Emily said, her voice tight as she read over Sarah's shoulder. That's what drove her away. Sarah reached for Emily's hand, squeezing it gently. We're getting closer, she said. This proves she was here. We just need to keep looking. The search consumed them over the next few days. Sarah took the lead, her determination unwavering, while Emily grappled with the emotions the process stirred up. Each dead end felt like a fresh wound, but Sarah's optimism kept them going. She contacted the county library, asking about old business records, and even reached out to a local historian who remembered the bookstore. One evening, as they sat with takeout pizza in the cabin, Sarah's phone pinged with an email from the historian. Listen to this, she said, her voice rising with excitement. He says Clara moved to Oregon after leaving town. Someplace near Portland, maybe. He doesn't know more, but it's a start. Emily's eyes widened, a spark of hope flickering. Oregon, she repeated, almost to herself. She always talked about the West Coast. Said it felt free. Sarah grinned. See? We're on the right track. We'll search Portland next, bookstores, libraries, anything that might connect to her. But as the days passed, the trail grew cold again. Portland was a big city, and without more specifics, their searches yielded nothing concrete. Emily's hope began to waver, and Sarah could see the toll it was taking. One night, as they sat by the cabin's fireplace, Emily's voice broke the silence. I don't know if I can do this, she said, staring into the flames. What if she's moved on? What if she's happy without me? Or worse, what if she's gone? Sarah knelt beside her, her heart aching. You're not doing this alone, she said. And even if we don't find her, you're facing this. That's brave, Emily. Braver than you know. Emily's eyes glistened, but she didn't pull away when Sarah hugged her. The embrace was fierce, a promise that Sarah wouldn't let her aunt give up. They stayed like that for a long time, the fire crackling as the night deepened. The breakthrough came unexpectedly a week later. Sarah, bleary-eyed from late-night searches, stumbled across a blog post from a Portland book club. It mentioned a Clara Harper who volunteered at a community library, organizing queer literature events. The post was recent, only a few months old, and included a photo of a woman with red hair streaked with gray, her smile warm and familiar. Sarah's heart raced as she showed Emily the screen. Is this her? She asked, her voice trembling with hope. Emily stared at the photo, her breath catching. That's her, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. That's Clara. The discovery of Clara's photo lit a fire under Sarah and Emily. The blog post gave them a lead. A small community library in Portland where Clara volunteered. Sarah wasted no time drafting an email to the library's director, asking if Clara Harper still worked there. She kept it vague, not wanting to scare Clara off, but her fingers trembled as she typed. Emily watched, her face a mix of hope and fear, as if the possibility of finding Clara was both a dream and a nightmare. The response came 2 days later. Clara was still there, leading a weekly book club focused on queer stories. The director provided a phone number, suggesting they reach out directly. Sarah held the phone out to Emily, but her aunt hesitated, her hands shaking. I can't, Emily said, her voice barely audible. What if she doesn't want to see me? Sarah sat beside her, her voice steady. You won't know unless you try. And you've carried this for 20 years. You deserve to know, Emily. You deserve to be happy. Emily took the phone, her fingers brushing Sarah's as she did. She dialed the number, her breath uneven, and when a woman's voice answered bright, warm, unmistakably Clara's, Emily froze. Sarah nodded encouragingly, and Emily managed to speak, her voice cracking. Clara? It's Emily. From Pennsylvania. There was a long pause, then a gasp. Emily. Clara's voice was thick with emotion. Is it really you? They talked for an hour, Sarah listening quietly from the couch. Emily's words tumbled out apologies, memories, the weight of years apart. Clara's voice was soft, forgiving but guarded. She'd built a life in Portland, a safe haven where she could be herself. But she hadn't forgotten Emily. Not ever. When the call ended, Emily's face was wet with tears, but she was smiling. She wants to meet, she said, her voice trembling with disbelief. She's coming to Pennsylvania next month for a book festival. She wants to see me. Sarah threw her arms around Emily, laughing through her own tears. "We did it," she said. "You did it." The weeks leading up to Clara's visit were a blur of anticipation. Emily was a mess of nerves, second-guessing everything. Sarah took charge, helping her plan where they'd meet, what they'd say. They chose a small cafe in town, neutral ground, where Emily and Clara could talk without the weight of the past overwhelming them. When the day arrived, Sarah drove Emily to the cafe, her aunt's hands fidgeting in her lap. "You've got this," Sarah said, squeezing her shoulder. "Just be yourself." Emily nodded, her dark eyes bright with hope and fear. She stepped out of the car, her flannel shirt pressed and her hair neatly tied back, and walked into the cafe. Sarah waited outside, her heart pounding as if she were the one facing a long-lost love. Inside, Emily spotted Clara immediately. She was older, her red hair now streaked with gray, but her smile was the same bright, unguarded like a burst of sunlight. They sat across from each other, the air thick with unspoken history. Clara reached for Emily's hand, and Emily didn't pull away. "I never thought I'd see you again," Clara said, her voice soft but steady. "I thought you'd moved on." "I tried," Emily admitted, her eyes locked on Clara's. "But I couldn't. Not from you." They talked for hours, the years melting away as they shared stories of their lives apart. Clara had found a community in Portland, a place where she could be openly queer without fear. Emily confessed how she'd stayed in the shadows, hiding her truth to protect herself. The regret in her voice was palpable, but Clara's touch was forgiving, her presence a reminder of what they'd once had. Sarah peeked through the cafe window, her heart swelling at the sight of them. She didn't need to hear their words to know this was a turning point. Emily was finally free, or at least on her way to it. The cafe meeting was just the beginning. Clara stayed in Pennsylvania for a week, and Emily spent every moment she could with her. They walked the old trails where they'd once stolen moments together, revisiting memories with a new tenderness. Sarah watched from a distance, giving them space but always ready with a smile or a reassuring word when Emily's nerves got the better of her. One evening, Clara joined them at the cabin for dinner. Sarah cooked badly, as Emily teased, but the laughter around the table felt like a gift. Clara's warmth filled the room, her stories of Portland's vibrant queer community painting a picture of a life Emily had only dreamed of. As they talked, Sarah saw her aunt come alive in a way she hadn't before, lighter, freer, as if a weight had been lifted. Before Clara left, she and Emily made a plan. Clara invited Emily to visit Portland, to see the life she'd built and maybe find a place in it. Emily hesitated, her roots in Pennsylvania deep, but Sarah could see the spark in her eyes. "Go," Sarah urged one night after Clara had returned to Oregon. "You've waited long enough." Emily did. 3 months later, she flew to Portland, her first time leaving Pennsylvania in years. Sarah stayed behind, fielding calls from her aunt filled with nervous excitement. When Emily returned, she was different, still the strong, steady woman Sarah knew, but with a quiet joy that radiated from her. She and Clara were taking it slow, rebuilding what they'd lost, but the love was still there, as fierce as ever. The hunting trip that had started it all became a turning point, not just for Emily but for Sarah too. She saw her aunt's courage, her willingness to face her truth, and it inspired her to live more boldly in her own life. Emily's story wasn't just about love. It was about the power of honesty, of trusting those who matter most, and of never giving up on what makes you whole. Years later, Sarah would look back on that trip as the moment everything changed. Emily and Clara built a life together, splitting time between Pennsylvania and Portland, their love a quiet rebellion against the years that had kept them apart. And Sarah, forever their biggest supporter, carried their story in her heart, a reminder that love, in all its forms, is worth fighting for.